Hello, Sonder fam. Welcome. I am so excited to get into our social tonight. This is a super, super fun one. My name is Bailey, and I will be your facilitator for this evening. So, a couple of housekeeping things if this is your first post social or one of your first socials. This is participate at your comfort, which means you can just sit here and hang out. You can just hang out in the chat. You don't have to do these activities now. You can take notes and dive into them later. You can only participate in the chat. You don't have to participate in the chat at all, whatever is to your comfort level and whatever vibe you're feeling tonight. But if you do decide to participate in the chat and want to share with others, you'll want to make sure that you have that little blue box above where you type in your text set to everyone. That way, all of us can see what you have to share. Sometimes it'll default to host and panelist. And if it's set to that, then only Katie and I will be able to see what you're sharing, which obviously we'd love to see what you're sharing as well, but I'm sure you'd like to share with the group. And speaking of Katie, she is going to be my fabulous stage manager for the evening, which means she will be helping out in the chat. There she is. So if you have questions or anything, feel free to pop those in the chat or use the Q&A, and Katie will be happy to answer those, and I'll be happy to answer in between activities as well. So again, the way this works, if you're not familiar with it, is that we have a few activities planned tonight, and we're going to go through each one of them, kind of give some tips and tricks and prompts to go through, and then we're going to actually play music and give you all time to do this in your journals. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So our theme this month is vibrance, as you know. And for me, I think vibrance maybe resonates with everybody a little bit differently. But for me, I think the key for vibrance is just having the freedom to be authentically me. If I am in a space where I really feel like I can be my super goofy self, I don't have to police my opinions or worry too much about ruffling feathers or anything like that. And I can just really lean into who I am and how I feel and what brings me joy and what energizes me and gets me going. That's really where vibrance kind of sits and lives for me. And obviously there are certain places and situations, whether it's maybe people we don't have the best relationships with, or uncomfortable situations, or maybe just environments where what we want to do is unfortunately not the best time to do it, right? Where we kind of don't get to be our most vibrant selves. But something that I sort of noticed as I was going through the journal this month and kind of completing some of the prompts and things is that, I really do have quite a bit of room in my daily life, in my routine, to kind of reorganize some things and lean into vibrance more. Something that really drains me is spending too much time on social media. And towards the end of COVID, I had really gotten a very good balance with that and was a lot happier. And that balance has sort of drifted away over the last few years. And it doesn't, I put into it and it doesn't give back. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of other things in my life that very much do give back, fill me up. And so if I can kind of get back to a better balance with that, spend more time doing those things that make me feel vibrant, then that is going to make my routine overall feel vibrant and fill me up a bit more and allow me to lean into the things that matter to me, which means being my authentic self. So in my day-to-day life. So as you're moving through the journal this month, as you're engaging with this theme, just try to think about what vibrance means to you. And if, like me, it really means that freedom and authenticity, just be thinking about ways that you might be able to weave that into your day-to-day life, not just those big moments of your favorite events and people and things. So also, before we actually dive into the content, start engaging, we do have some community guidelines here. So here at Silk and Sonder, we always want everyone to be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam, please. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying, of course. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions. You can redirect those and other issues to customer care to the team at HQ. And Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. If at any point, again, this is participate at your comfort, if at any point you're not in the right headspace, you need to come back to this, we're going to share a link at the end of the event where you can actually watch a recording. The recording will not contain the chat, but it will contain the event. So if you've had a crazy day and you're just not in it right now, that's totally fine. We get it. So we are going to do a Vibrance activity together. And then we'll do our vibrancy prompts on page 14. And then we're going to create our own bingo on page 21. So for our first vibrancy prompt, this is not something that's in the journal. This is just a fun little activity to kind of get things going tonight. So you can flip to a blank notes page or a scratch pad for the week. If you have filled all of that up, or if that space is really precious to you, you can just grab a spare piece of paper if you want to, or a different notebook. And we are going to do a vibrancy sketch. So what you're going to do is on your little paper space, draw a sun, and this is going to be you. And in each of the sun's rays, write something you admire about yourself. And then think about how you can share these traits with the world around you. So you can see my example here on the left. Here's my little sunshine with a smiley face. And you can see in the different rays, I've written things I admire about myself. So dedication, authenticity, identity, vulnerability, love, transparency, creativity, bravery, my curls, resilience, boundaries, strength, rationality, whimsy, optimism, growth, emotional, smile. Like it says emotional, but it's that I am emotional. And then over on the right-hand side, I just have a couple of different little pieces of artwork that have like words built in that might spark some creativity for yourself if you're getting stuck. Your sun can have as many rays or as few rays as you feel like it. You could start with a few rays now and then add more to it later. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my cat. He's yowling in the background. He wants a little bit of attention. But feel free to share with us in the chat what you're writing down in your rays, and then we'll come back together and move on to our next activity. All right. So, thank you all for working on this activity, and thank you all so much for all of the love and wishes about losing our sweet kitty. It was definitely hard and has been hard, but we're getting through it every day and just giving our boys some extra love. So, if one of them starts yelling again, apologies. Anyways, so we are going to move on now to our vibrancy prompts. So this is on page 14 of the journal, and we're just going to go into each one of these different areas and then give you some time to kind of write in them and share with us what you're writing in the spaces. So the first prompt here is, where and in what people or activities do you feel the most vibrant? So I sort of just took this as like making a list, just kind of writing down. But when Katie and I were talking before the social, she brought up a great point, which is that, if there is like one particular memory that comes to mind that you really want to like write about and kind of like focus on, then feel free to go that route and really get as detailed as you would like. And then our next prompt is, what areas of your life could use more vibrance? So on the first prompt, the first thing I wrote is when I'm at Disney, because I'm a big Disney fan, and I love to go to Disney World. It's definitely my happy place. It's also a place where, again, I feel like I can be just full nerd, full color, full bright, it just like is that environment to really lean into that whimsy. And that's a big part of who I am. So like I was saying before, with vibrancy really needing to feel that freedom to be my authentic self, I think that's one of the reasons that speaks to me so much. Also, if I like really get to like do an activity outside, if I can connect with nature, if I can go hiking, if I can work on my garden, like something of that like speaks to my core and makes me feel just like sunny. When I'm with my really close friends, and especially if I take a moment to just kind of like pause and look around, if there's a group of us, and kind of, soak in that joy and that just like connection. When I allow myself to experience my full emotions. So even when those emotions are, maybe sadness or anger, like there was a time where I really struggled to express my emotions completely. And so now being able to actually do that, I don't know, like it really just it kind of makes me proud of myself because I've worked really hard to get to that point. And so I have that little spark inside that just feels like, hey, yeah, you're doing it. And like, yeah, it's okay if you're crying in public right now. Like, it is what it is. And it's okay to feel those emotions and move through those things. I wrote when I am brave and when I try new things, which for me usually involves being a little bit brave, and when I stand up for others. So, and then as far as what areas of my life could use more vibrance, my job and career, I love my job. Like it gives me exactly what I need, but I'm not in a situation where I'm being challenged on a regular basis right now. And so, it's hard to feel that like vibrance. I love to like problem solve and be challenged. So, but that's okay. We're just in sort of a season right now. And I know that there are more opportunities coming around the river bend, if you will. So I just have to kind of be patient. And for now, just kind of lean into what it is. My home could use some more vibrance. Just the last couple months, I have really been in a funk low energy. Now that the sun's coming back, that's starting to go away. And so I'm ready to kind of reorganize and declutter and clean and do all of those things so that when I walk in, it just feels happy and like home and like me in my space. My daily routines. So like I mentioned earlier, my routines can feel very like not fulfilling, but I think that I have some room in there to make some really simple changes that could change that. Family relationships. I feel like this year, I don't know what's going on, but it seems like I'm good. Me and my little family's good. But all my adjacent family members are like going through different things or different changes and different transitions. And so because of that, everybody's kind of just needed time separately. But we haven't been able to connect like I would like to. So now that they're sort of coming through some of those processes and transitions and things, we can kind of reconnect now and spark that vibrancy again. And then just my hobbies. I need to spend more time like being creative, leaning into them, reading, those kinds of things that I know fill me up and bring me joy. So I'm going to give you all some time to work on this top part, and then we'll come back together and do the bottom. All right. Thank you all so much for taking time to do that and sharing. So just to call out a few things. So I saw that Brittany shared that in the activities where they feel most vibrant, they put journaling, reading, exercise, cooking, cleaning when time allows them to do it thoroughly, learning new things and quality time with their loved ones. Rashida shared that they are their most vibrant on vacation, cruises in Mexico. They love meeting new people at church, preparing for Bible study, worship, being outside in the afternoon, listening to the birds sing. I love that. Could use more vibrancy for meals, relationships, and decorations. And then Katie shared that their deck garden could use some more vibrancy. Everything is some shade of green. I feel you on that, Katie. I love green. It's a lovely color, but every now and then you want just like a little pop. So we're now going to move on to the bottom of our page here to what I think is sort of a fun prompt here. So it says, what's a song that energizes you? Look up the lyrics and jot them down here for a mini mindset reset. So a couple songs that I considered were Let It Go from Frozen, Heart Like Mine, which is a Miranda Lambert song, and Taking It Back, which is Megan Trainor. But I ended up landing on Thunder by Imagine Dragons. That song is actually not my usual sort of like music go-to vibe, but I don't know what it is. Ever since it came out, it has just been my like pump up jam. I've listened to it before every job interview, before any kind of like situation, where I needed to like pump myself up. It's just like really been my go-to song. Um, so I wrote the lyrics there, as you can see on the page. And like that last part always gets me, that I was lightning before the thunder. I don't know what it is about that song, but it really speaks to me. So we'll give you a few minutes to think about your song. Yes, Sherry, sorry. The kitty was meowing and it was not going to stop unless I let him up here. So he popped on to say hello. So we'll give you a few minutes to think about your song and definitely share with us in the chat what you decided to go with. right, awesome job completing this part, and thank you all so much for sharing all your songs. Like I mentioned, we've actually had like a few different kind of fun things and prompts and like daily rituals this month that have been around music. And I know that there have been a few people that when we've done them in the socials have kind of like scrolled up and made some notes of songs people shared or stacked like pictures real quick of songs people shared and they ended up making a playlist. So definitely feel free to do that if you like. I will share my playlist at the end of this. So if there's anything on there you want for yours, feel free to pull it off of there as well. I want to go ahead and kind of move into our bingo board because I want to make sure you all have plenty of time to work on that as well. So that is going to be on page 21. So my bingo board is on the right-hand side. And then the top of the page actually says that you can get inspiration from our companion app. So I decided to do that. I pulled in a couple of bingos. If you're not aware, there are actually bingos on the Sonder Club app. Some of them are like for the month and they'll be like around journaling specifically and activities in the journal. Some of them around our theme for the month, but then some of them will be for like a season or a couple of months or something specific like mom self-care, or I think I saw one, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was like spring or maybe like, no, it was reading. That's what it was. There's like a reading one on there. That's what it is. So I decided to pull in that as well. So this is the April Vibrance one that's from the app. And then I also pulled in this Cozy Spring and Spring Adventures. So while you all are working on yours, I'll kind of go in between these. So as I mentioned again at the beginning, for me, Vibrance is all about just authenticity and leaning into myself. But for me as an introvert, in order for me to really be my full self, I kind of have to have my batteries charged. So I have to make sure I'm making time for those things that fill up my energy, because otherwise, like, I can't go to Disney and gallivant around or hang out with friends and do all of that stuff if I'm just exhausted and not making sure that I'm filling up that energy meter. So a lot of my bingo board is centered around that. You can see I've got like the 7 types of rest mixed in there: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, sensory, creative. And then I have some other things in there like new plant, which I actually have highlighted that one off because I got a new plant. I saw Caroline said cat care. They saw my cat care in there. So that's in there. Walking outside, getting some sunshine, reorganizing my pantry, which is it's getting topply in there, y'all. Time. Play a video game, just to kind of like zone out and like recharge, reading for fun and not for like work or something. And then I tried to kind of mix in some things here that are like fun things and also things that are about rest. A few things that like I want to kind of push myself to do, but also things that I already know are happening. Like I have get my hair done on there. I have a hair appointment next Saturday. I know that's going to happen. So when you're building out your bingo board, try to think about that. Try to mix in a couple things that maybe are, you know, self-care kind of things, but maybe they're the things you struggle to find time for. But also mix in those things that are fun, that really do like make you feel vibrant, and try to mix in like a few challenging things with some things that you know are going to happen for sure. And then you can decide if you want to actually treat this like a bingo board and try to get a line and call bingo, or if you want to go with what they call a full house, which is where you try to color in all of the squares for the month. For me, whenever I do the bingo boards, honestly, I don't try to get a row and I don't try to get a full house. I just try to do as many as I can, and just having like it all there in a grid and all the little pictures just makes it seem more fun. So definitely take this time to do your board, and you can be as creative or as minimalist as you want with this. There are no rules. Like Katie said at the beginning of the social, nobody's grading this, right? This is just between you and your journal. So definitely share with us what you're deciding to put on your board, and then we'll come back together and close out. right. Thank you all so much for taking this time to at least get started on your bingos. Like I said before, you can get as creative with this or minimalist with this as you want. So whether you just decided to write in words or you're making little doodles or whatever you decided to do, stickers. I know Katie had mentioned like putting in mantras or quotes. I thought that was a great idea. And a few of you have decided to repurpose this all together. Always fine to change anything in your journal that doesn't work for you. It doesn't matter what it is. The key word is your journal. So do whatever works for you, whatever feels best to you always. But that is going to wrap up our time together. I know it always goes by super duper fast. And if you didn't finish your bingo, that is totally fine. Just continue to work on it. But definitely let us know on Sonder Club what your bingo ended up looking like. If you want to share any of the activities we did today in picture form, we would love to see that. So you can go onto the app and just share that. And then everybody can kind of see what you did and how you decided to do it in your journal. And then we do still have the Refer a Friend program going on currently. So Katie's going to be popping in links in the chat for these as well. I think if you refer somebody, they get $10 off and you get $10 off. And then also you have a friend in Sonder Club. So that's always fun. And then please do share your feedback with us. It's a survey about the event today. For those of you that are new, Sonder Socials looked completely different 2 years ago when we first started doing this. And one of the things that has evolved them into what you see today is feedback that we get from you all. You may have noticed if you've joined recently or if you've been in the community for a while that like a lot of our times and things have changed of when we offer socials. All of that comes from feedback from you. So please let us know what you liked about this, if there was anything you'd want to change, if there's different times that work for you, all of that stuff, it all gets looked at. And then of course, the ever popular YouTube link. So you cannot search for this particular channel online. You have to save this link that Katie is popping into the chat, and that is going to get you access to the recordings of Sonder Social. So if you ever can't make one and you want to watch it back, or if you were in one and you were having such a good time in the chat, you didn't actually get to like sit and do your stuff, you can always go back and watch the recording in a few days, but just be sure that you save that link because you will not be able to search for it. And then finally, as promised, so these are my playlists. So I have a Silk and Sonder Vibrance playlist for this month that I'll keep up for a few months or so. And there's the link there if you want to snap a photo or a QR code that'll take you into the Spotify playlist if you want to, or you can just search it. It should be public. But after a couple of months or so, I kind of just take all my songs from my playlist and dump them into this master Sonder Social list. So if you ever really like a playlist that I have, I'm sorry, because if you follow it, it may just disappear one day because I'm going to dump all the songs into the master one. So if you get really attached to anything, you might want to either make your own playlist or just follow that master one because it will eventually all get dumped in there. But we are so excited that you decided to spend tonight with us, and we had such a good time, and we hope that you had a good time. And I hope that you have a good rest of your day and a great rest of your week until we see you at the next one.
Uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder. Thunder, 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 thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, thunder. Kids were laughing in my classes while I was scheming for the masses. Who do you think you are? Dreaming about being a big star. They say you're basic, they say you're easy. You're always riding in the backseat. Now I'm smiling from the stage while you thunder, feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder, thunder.